So we talked about this a couple of times on this channel, but it actually just came out. This is breaking news that former district attorney and the district attorney that was somewhat involved in the Ahmaud Arbery trial, she's been on trial because of some alleged misconduct when it came to how this trial was handled, or how the Ahmaud Arbery trial was handled, what happened before that. And she allegedly made some phone calls to try and get the guys who were convicted of killing Ahmaud Arbery out of jail, or keeping them out of jail. So there was a bunch of weird things going on there. We actually went through the official indictment, read it here on the channel. If y'all want to check out that video, I'll leave it in the description. And she's been on trial for the past couple of weeks, but it came out this morning that her charges actually got dismissed. Now we've got an article here from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution we're going to read, but before we get into that, I want you guys to get a quick refresher of what actually happened in this case and why she was on trial in the first place. Here we go.
On the news tonight, a former Brunswick district attorney charged with illegally interfering with police investigating the 2020 killing of Ahmaud Arbery made her first court appearance today.
A grand jury indicted Jackie Johnson 3 years ago for violating her oath of office and hindering a police officer. Fox 5's Christine Spiro joins us now in studio with the latest developments. Christine.
Well, prosecutors for State Attorney General Chris Carr's office say Jackie Johnson used her position to protect Greg McMichael and to urge police not to arrest Travis McMichael. Both men are currently serving life sentences for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. The 25-year-old was fatally shot in February of 2020 as he ran from the men who chased him in a pickup truck in a neighborhood in Brunswick. They wrongly suspected Arbery was a thief. Police say Greg initiated the deadly chase. He was a retired investigator for Johnson's office. His son Travis killed Arbery with a shotgun. Now, during the pretrial hearing today, prosecutor John Fowler accused lead defense attorney Brian Steele of trying to steer Johnson's case into a gray legal limbo where no one would prosecute.
Brian Steele's on the case. There it is. There's our guy, Brian Steele, up in there. You may or may not remember, Brian Steele and Keith Adams are representing, or were representing, Jackie Johnson. A lot of people were torn about this, especially after everything that happened with the YSL trial. Y'all have to let me know how you feel about it in this case, which is now over.
By trying to make Attorney General Carr a witness by speculation without subpoenaing him and trying to come up with some vague reason, they're trying to get this case into a place where it cannot go forward.
If the head of the office, the elected district attorney, or in this case the elected attorney general, has a conflict, then all of their people who work for them have a conflict.
He's just doing his job.
Prosecutors have said in court filings there were 16 calls between phone numbers for Johnson and Greg in the days and weeks after the shooting. Greg left Johnson a voice message the day Arbery was killed. Johnson has denied any wrongdoing. The judge has scheduled jury selection to start January 21st. Attorneys on both sides tell the judge they expect the case to take about 2.5 weeks. But we remember how high profile this case was. And here coming full circle with this potential attorney being prosecuted. We'll see where that trial goes.
Yeah, with the years that have passed since it all happened, some people might have forgotten that there were charges involving the prosecutor in this case.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll be following it.
All right, Christine.
Thanks.
All right, so that's a little bit of the background. Now we'll get into the AJC's article about this and what happened. Ahmaud Arbery's case. The judge dismisses the remaining charges against former DA. Here we go. And shout out to the AJC for this. The indictment charging former Coastal Georgia District Attorney Jackie Johnson with violating her oath of office in the wake of the Ahmaud Arbery murder was invalid. The presiding judge ruled Wednesday before dismissing her one remaining charge. Johnson was indicted by Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr's office in 2021 on charges she violated her oath, they typed it twice, and hindered the police investigation into Ahmaud Arbery's 2020 murder. But the prosecutor's case floundered from the start. The senior judge, John R. Turner, dismissed the former Johnson's misdemeanor obstruction charge this week. He said he hadn't seen one scintilla of evidence. Oh, man. The former DA instructed police not to arrest Aubrey's killers. And I mentioned this when we went through the indictment and the facts about the case. Y'all can go back and watch the video. I said this from a legal standpoint seems pretty shaky because we have to see as the evidence plays out what was actually said in these phone calls. Did she have phone calls with the convicted man in this case? Did she actually ask someone to do something? It turns out what we said was right, and that's not the case. Johnson's attorney, Brian Steele, has challenged the validity of his client's remaining violation of oath of office charge, which was predicated on an oath Johnson took in 2010 after being appointed by then Governor Sonny Perdue. Steele said the indictment brought by Carr's office more than 4 years ago was deficient because the oath was not in effect at the time of Aubrey's murder. Oh, interesting. In fact, Johnson had taken 2 other oaths since after winning re-election bids in 2012 and 2016. From the bench, the judge expressed sympathy for Ahmaud Aubrey's family members seated in the courtroom. In listening to the testimony here, I've never understand why these people were never arrested, Turner said of Aubrey's killers. He said he recently lost a close friend from high school and was devastated by the news. But he said nothing compares to what the Aubrey family must have gone through after losing their son. Aubrey's parents seemed disappointed as they exited the courtroom, but his mother said in the hallway that she understood the judge's rationale. The law is the law, Aubrey's mother said, Wanda Cooper Jones, before leaving the courtroom. But this was a win for us because we got to find out what really went on. Shout out to the AJC for that article. And yeah, shout out to Miss Jones for having that attitude. I say this all the time on this channel. No matter how you feel about somebody or what happened, when it comes to the law, you have to take these things on a case-by-case basis. And when the evidence came out, it showed, according to the judge, that not only was her oath not in place, but she didn't actually attempt to do the things that the prosecutors were saying she attempted to do. Now, there has been some shock and surprise from a lot of people in the legal community, just because you don't really see a directed verdict like this often from a judge. So y'all have to let me know what you think about that. Excuse me. Y'all have to let me know what you think about that in the comments in the chat. I know a lot of people wanted to see this go a different way because of the entire case, but the evidence clearly showed that she wasn't guilty of what they were accusing her of. Let me know what y'all think.